Welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today we're going to be doing another one of my highly requested, great, hidden, unknown, and rare 4K Ultra HD releases from all over the world video series. In this series, I dive into all of these titles that never get touched on, that are of big movies, exciting releases that are released on 4K Ultra HD. And I dive into these and do mini reviews, share all the testing data, and let you know the quality of these. Stuff that is really cool collectibles to have in your collection, really great movies that were only released in certain territories all around the world. Now, as always for this video series, I always post all of these links directly in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. I've always done all of the work for all of you. You don't have to go out there searching for these, trying to find them like I do. It takes me tons of time, weeks upon weeks of searching out to find all of these, then testing them to see if they actually even work and what players they work in. And I share all of that data in this video series. Now, I've done 2 of them previously in this video series, and you'll want to check out those videos after you get done watching this one. But this is number 3 in this hidden and unknown video series. And I can tell you there is some exciting titles we've got to dive into here. I've got stuff that's comedies, romantic comedies, action adventures, thrillers, sci-fi, westerns. There are so many big releases I discovered when I went through finding all of these for this video series that it's become a really exciting time going in and finding all of these and sharing all of that with all of you. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Just like with this video, you're only ever gonna find these reviews and this type of content here exclusively on my YouTube channel. I spend a ton of time, money, energy, and work creating these videos and testing all of these to let you know what of these will work, what of these don't work, and let me tell you, if you've watched this video series before, there are some of these that simply don't work that I've shared before that are not good releases. So you'll want to make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel so you never miss out on any of this exclusive or exciting content. First title we've got to talk about today is Memory. This is the 2022 thriller mystery action movie with Liam Neeson. And I do really enjoy Liam Neeson. I know a lot of you have referenced a lot of his films being, you know, the start of those action films called Taken. And he's done a lot of them since then with varying qualities in them, but I've always really enjoyed him as an actor. He's got a really gravelly voice that is always just, I don't know, sounds great on film, and I've always really enjoyed him. Well, this is one of those films that I did really enjoy. It was directed by Martin Campbell. He's very talented, and I was curious how he was going to do with this film. Well, the sad thing about this film is it just came out at the wrong time. It was when all that stuff was going on in 2022, and it just came out in theaters at a time when people weren't going to theaters. And it's actually a very enjoyable mystery thriller that I thought Liam Neeson did a great job in it. The story's engaging, it keeps you engaged the whole time. Now, it's not as heavy of an action piece, it's more a mystery thriller, but it's really enjoyable and it's done well. And it has Guy Pearce and Monica Bellucci in it, and they're both good in it as well. And the story does have some twists and turns in it. And this was one of those that did not get a 4K release in America. And it actually was only released in this limited edition 4K Ultra HD set just recently. And I'm gonna touch on this. Most of these in this video series that I do are limited edition releases. That means they only print so many of them. Once they sell out, they're gone forever. As most of you know that have followed my channel for a while, once these sell out, you can't get them again and they're extremely expensive. So if you decide you're wanting to buy any of these after you watch this video, I've done all of the work for all of you as always. You don't have to try going to find all of these. Specifically the ones I get in and test and review, I put the exact links that I get them from in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. So any of these you want to pick up and buy, you just click on those links down there and that's directly how to get these. Now this one is an Amazon exclusive through that Amazon link I posted below. This one is a limited edition steelbook set. And on the back here, it does have your limited edition. Mine's 1,630 of 2,000. So these are only printed in 2,000 of these 4K Ultra HD releases. I will list all of the different editions of this in the description section down below and as a pinned comment. Now, I opted for the red one for a reason. I absolutely loved this steelbook. It is one of the coolest artwork styles on a steelbook, and I'll show you why here in a minute, but I love the color red, and this one was just really cool. They also have it in a media book. Now, I like media books, but this Steelbook is the way to get it. But of those, I definitely suggest the Steelbook. If you can kind of see it here, I'm gonna try to catch the light on it. You see how the shards of glass are like shiny? They look like pieces of glass when it hits it right, because behind it, the metal is actually shining through, and it's shiny metal through that, on top of it being extra glossy. So it looks like a bunch of shards of glass coming out as Liam Neeson is shooting with his gun through it. It is really cool Steelbook. On the side here, it says memory on the side of it. And then on the back, it has obviously what your number is of the limited edition Steelbook. And then again, it's got more shards of glass, as you can see Liam Neeson's character with the gun. Artwork wise, this is one of the coolest limited edition Steelbooks I've gotten in a while. Now, it doesn't have a slipcover that comes over it. What you get is this J card. And on the J card, it just has the specs of the movie, talking about that it's an exclusive release, that this is the only 4K release anywhere worldwide. That is correct. This is it. And it is limited. Once it's gone, they're not going to print it again. And this is one of those that is really cool. Now, I can tell you this 4K Ultra HD is a native 4K 2160p, and it does have HDR10. The image on this was superb. It looked really good throughout the entire film. There was no blocking, banding, no black crush. And I will say the HDR was used really well on it. There's some scenes where Liam Neeson's character is actually walking out of like the rain and he has headlights behind him. And man, you don't see him coming until like he gets closer. And those headlights coming out of that dark inky black looked really good. There's scenes where like the police are chasing and you see the headlights, and then you see the obviously lights of the police car above with all the different red and blue going off in the night sky. It looked really good on it and really surprised me at how good of a job they did with the image on this. Now, touching on the audio, this does have English, DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and the audio mix on this was really well done as well. There wasn't any issues with fluctuations. Very clear, very easy to understand. It moved things around well, and it had some good LFE and some good bass in it as well. That really lended to the action sides of it. When they're shooting, you can hear it. There's some explosions in it, and they sounded really good on this release as well. Now, showing you what you get in this. You do get a little card here talking about some of their other films, but you get this really nice limited edition collectible book in this Steelbook. So you remember I mentioned that there's a media book version of this? I'll link those below as well if you like the media book. It's this book that's in the media book, but the outside casing is just the book instead of the Steelbook. But this Steelbook, I really liked. I'm telling you, I really liked the design style they used on it with the glass. When you see it in person, it looks so much better in person. But it has Liam Neeson's character in here with his pistol. And then there's another artwork on the back of these, but I'm not gonna take the discs out. Now you do have your Blu-ray disc here. The Blu-ray disc is Region B locked. So the disc for the Blu-ray, which you're not really gonna watch anyways because the 4K is where everything's at, the 4K is 100% region free. And I'm gonna touch on this. There's a reason I always test the 4Ks, and I'll get to that here in this video just a little bit later on. You'll understand exactly why. If you've watched my channel for a while, there have been a lot of 4K releases, even in the US, that have had region locks on them. That's why I always exclusively test them. This one is 100% region free. So that link I'm posting down below for this set, you'll be able to play this Blu-ray if you are living in region B territory. If you live in America or Canada, something like that, which is region A, you'll need a region free player to play the Blu-ray. But to be honest with you, you're not buying this for the Blu-ray, you're buying it for the 4K, and the 4K is where it's at. It looked really good on that native 4K and was a very nice transfer. Now, showing you what you get in this book, it is mostly just production photos of them working on it, casting crew, things like that. But I do like this, how it's just basically an art book of all the different like production and character photos throughout it. So I really did like this book that came in it with the limited edition set. Now, a lot of people ask if there's burned in subtitles, and it is something that if there is burned in subtitles on any of these releases that I do in this video series, I always mention it and let you know there is none on this. It is an option. You can either turn on German subtitles, turn them off. There's nothing burned in. There is some scenes in this movie though where it does have some Spanish language where they're talking in Spanish. Those are subtitles that play in English obviously on it, so we understand if you don't understand Spanish. But again, that's not something that is wrong with it. That's the way the original movie was, because it is the English movie put on this. Nothing is different or wrong with this in any shape or form. Now, sharing a little bit more of my exclusive testing, I did the rough average bitrate on this, and I had a very healthy 60 megabits per second rough average bitrate. It looked good, it was stable, it didn't have big drops and dips throughout it. And I was very surprised for this release because it was one of those that didn't do well in theaters because of the time period when it came out. People weren't going to theaters. Heck, most of the theaters were being closed down at the time. But it's one of those films I'm glad to have in my collection because I love Liam Neeson in these action thriller movies. And this is one that I'm really excited to have because once it's gone, I'll have another really cool collectible that you can own as well because this just came out. I pre-ordered this and got this in so I could test it for all of you. Because that 4K is region free, I highly recommend this release. Get the Steelbook. I mean, if you want the media book, because that's all that's available, go ahead and get that. I'll put that link down below. But this is the one I suggest. I mean, this red Steelbook I love. This is one awesome limited edition Steelbook that I highly recommend getting. Next up, we have Coda. And this is the 3-time Oscar winner, Coda, which is Child of Deaf Adult. And this is one of those films that is a beautiful film. And this is on a limited edition 4K Ultra HD release. This is another exclusive release that is only available through that link I'm posting in the description section and as a pinned comment down below. This is one of those very limited edition releases. They're only printing so many of this as well. It says it everywhere. Once they're gone, they're gone. This is one of those films though that I was really hoping would get a physical media release, and I was thrilled when I found out it got one. Now, if you haven't seen the film itself is one of those you've got to experience, but this is the only physical media release of this film anywhere to experience this in. And it is one of those films about a child that basically she can hear, her parents and brother cannot. And so she basically translates for them and talks to everybody else, and it's about her experiencing and life through the love of her family, who is deaf, and her seeing things in a different light because she's not. And her wanting to be a part of the world, the listening world, the one that can hear more than what her family is, that is kind of more tightly knit, and her wanting to go out singing and experiencing things like that in a beautiful way. The film itself is absolutely wonderful, and the thing that lends to the realism of this film was really the cast in and of itself, that the cast actually was deaf in and of themselves. So they didn't use actors that were playing deaf folks, they actually were, and they're great in it. Now, this release is a very, very unique release, and here's why. If you ever saw this on Apple TV, the actual basic way it was it had numerous versions and options available for subtitles, because if you think about it, when they're doing sign language, if you don't know sign language, you don't know what they're saying to her, so you kind of miss out on more than half of the movie. So, on this release, it has some very awesome options for subtitles. You could choose to have no subtitles at all. That means when they're doing sign language, there's none at all. When they're talking, there's none at all. There's nothing burned in. Or, you can choose to have the subtitles on for only when they're doing sign language, and the rest of the film when they're talking, obviously in English, you can hear it in English as normal, but when they're doing the sign language, then it puts the subtitles only up when they're doing the sign language. But there's another option. You can also choose English subtitles on this 4K release that plays English subtitles through the whole film, regardless of whether they're talking in English or doing sign language, it does subtitles for all of it. That's a very unique thing to see on a release, that they gave us that many English subtitle options, whether they're on, whether you get them with the sign language only, or whether you get it through the whole film. That is really cool, and it really lended to why this is such a really cool collectible. Now, Coda came out in 2021, and this 4K release, I'm happy to announce, is a native 4K 2160p. And it does have HDR10 on it, and I can tell you the image quality on this is absolutely phenomenal. I was blown away when sitting and watching this. For this type of a release that's kind of more of an obscure company that they do smaller releases of 4Ks, I was really amazed at how good of a job they did with this, because it'll blow you away from the opening sequences, like when they're on the ocean and they're fishing, to when she's riding around on her bike through the woods and you see the beautiful sky coming through with the HDR experience. The colors and the wider color gamut on this for this 4K release is really breathtaking to behold. That's where I was really blown away by this release altogether, because it blew away the streaming version. I mean, I couldn't believe how good this looked compared to the streaming version, that it really made this feel like a first-time viewing experience. If you've never viewed this film before, don't watch it on streaming. You've got to get it on this 4K release. That is how good this looks, and this is one of those films you will want to watch over and over again. It is a heart-touching film that is wonderfully written and wonderfully acted. Now, audio-wise, we also get the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix on this. It's a great mix. It sounded great. There was no issues with it whatsoever, no lag, no issues with the voices not matching up. You also get an Italian audio mix on this as well. If you speak Italian and you want that, it's on this as well. Now, showing you what you get in this. You get this really nice artwork on here. It says it's got a Blu-ray and 4K. On the side here, it does say coda in English, and then on the back, it talks about the film. Now, when you get inside this, it's really cool. You get actually a manual for basically learning some sign language in this. I thought this was a really cool touch for the film. In here, you get your Blu-ray disc. I did test this. Your Blu-ray is region B locked, but good news is your 4K is 100% region free. You won't have any issues playing this. Now, in comparison between this 4K and the Blu-ray, the 4K is so beautiful to watch. You won't want to watch the Blu-ray anyways, but it is region B, so if you do have a region free player, you can watch it if you want. But this 4K is where it's at. It is really a breathtaking experience how good of a job they did for the transfer on this. Now, getting to some more of my testing, I dived into the rough average bitrate on this, and I can tell you this had an extremely high and very surprising rough average bitrate of 85 megabits per second. Wow. I was blown away, but to be honest with you, the image, I mean, it tells everything. When you see this and how good it looks, it is one of those stunning 4K Ultra HD releases that I really wish would have gotten a more worldwide release and wasn't such a limited edition release, but at least it's released on 4K. You can get it right now. I put that link directly down there below. It's an Amazon exclusive. There's barely any copies of this that are being made. But man, I was shocked at the rough average bitrate, 85 megabits per second, and it didn't have any massive dips in it. The image is just beautiful on this. I highly recommend this 4K Ultra HD release. Don't wait on this though. Don't miss out on this release because this is a wonderful film you're going to want to have in your collection and watch over and over again. It's a great drama that my wife and I absolutely adored. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Now, remember earlier on I mentioned why I exclusively test every single disc I get in? Here's a prime reason. This is Planet of the Vampires. It's another very limited edition release. Actually, by the time I got this in, it was already sold out. But I can tell you this, don't worry about feeling like you missed out on something because the discs that are in here, including the 4K Ultra HD disc, are 100% region B locked. Now, I can tell you on this release, it is frustrating because this is about the 16th release now on 4K Ultra HD that I've tested that has come region B locked. I don't know what these studios are doing. This one specifically doesn't make sense. They specifically locked the 4K disc to region B. So unless you have a region free player or you have a way to override the region locking, which one of my players is region free, the other one I can override it, the other three I can't. But fact of it is I was able to watch it. I'll tell you my thoughts on it. It's a good 4K release with some minor issues. I do think the restoration work they did on this looks amazing compared to any of the previous Blu-ray releases. Even Kino Lorber's Blu-ray release that I previously owned of this does not compare to this 4K release. But there's still issues with the audio. There's some slight audio syncs with the English dub that's on this. They've always kind of existed. On this, the English dub is slightly worse on that sense, but the image is a big upgrade. So again, it's not one that's literally going to knock your socks off and you're going to say the whole release was amazing, because the English dub, if that's how you watch it, which is how I watch it, it was worse syncing up on this than it was on Kino Lorber's release on Blu-ray, but the image on this was amazing compared to any release of this previously on Blu-ray. It literally looks just filmic. It has film grain throughout the entire thing. It's a native 4K 2160p, and it does have Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it. The Dolby Vision on this and the HDR10 for Planet of the Vampires is a game changer for this film. It's very stylistic. If you haven't seen this sci-fi horror movie, it came out in 1965, and it's basically the godfather of aliens. If you've seen this film, you'll know exactly what I mean. Ridley Scott is even referenced. He got his ideas and things like that for aliens from this film. There's numerous scenes throughout this that literally Ridley Scott ripped directly from this movie and just basically change the look of the ship a little bit or change the story a little bit, because this follows so much what Alien's story was, or actually Alien's story follows so much what this story is. Now, little hidden tidbit about this restoration is Nicholas Winding Refn, which I'm probably butchering his name, so I don't want a bunch of comments saying I butchered it. I'm already admitting I don't exactly know how to say his name perfectly, but he actually worked on the restoration of this film and supervised it. It's one of his favorite films of all time. He does the special features on this, which are all in English. You can watch the special features. He talks about it all in English, how he loves this film. He also references that Ridley Scott stole his ideas from this film. He supervised the restoration of this, so the restoration looks great, other than those slight things with them region B locking this, which makes zero sense. And then on top of that, the audio issues being slightly exaggerated and worse than on some of the previous releases before. But otherwise, it's a pretty cool release. It's just, it was extremely expensive to get a hold of. It was not available on Amazon. I had to order it from this manufacturer's website. And to get this release alone, it cost over $120 by the time it arrived with all of their fees, because it wasn't through Amazon. They only sold this on their website. So it was extremely expensive for me to get a hold of. So you're not really missing out on too much in that sense, other than that the image is really cool and it is kind of a limited edition release. But that's specifically why I test every single 4K release that I get in, because this makes number 16 that I have found that is region locked to a certain territory. So when I get these comments down there saying, why do you test things? All 4Ks are region free. You know how many times I've heard that over the last several years? And I always shake my head saying, man, people just really don't understand. Companies do region lock them. Prime example, here's another one. To show you what you get in this, it does come with this really kind of cool slipcover on it. It says Planet of the Vampires on it. It talks about the film that's a brand new 4K restoration. Then this slips off, and underneath it's got some really cool artwork. And it's in like this book style thing. And I love the purple colors. It comes with a book here, obviously, that talks about the restoration. And then these are all your discs with all different artworks on them, your 4K and your 2 Blu-rays. And it does have different cuts of the films. It has obviously Italian cut, US version, and things like that. So it's got some really cool things in this set. But again, every single disc that's in this set is 100% region B locked, including the 4K. Now, sharing some more of my testing, I did my rough average bitrate, and this had a very healthy 79 megabits per second. It looked good throughout it. Again, I said the image with that Dolby Vision HDR10 was a big winner on this. Now, for me as a collector, I'm glad to have this, though it is irritating because on most of my players, especially my Panasonic UB820, I have to do that whole like finicky thing where I keep pressing the enter and play button to try to get past the region locking on this. Now on my region free one, it'll play fine, but any of my LG, Sony players, any of the Xboxes, PlayStations, it won't play on any of those. It's all region locked on this. So the only one you can get past it on that I own is the Panasonic UB820. That one you can do the little finicky thing sometimes if it's a soft region lock to get past it, which you have to do with this. But that's where I said it's not an amazing release because of those issues, but I just wanted to make sure I pointed this one out. So if you wanted to know the quality of it, now you know about this release. Talking about another Liam Neeson 4K Ultra HD release. I told you I'm a big fan of Liam Neeson. I was thrilled when I found out about these, but this is another action, I don't know that I call it a mystery, but it's definitely heavy action movie. This one's different than The Memory. Memory is more of a mystery. You're trying to figure out what's going on, find out the backstory. This one is more or less, the story is easier to follow, but it's straight up lots of action and good like shootouts. And I thought there was a lot of like car chases in it. Like the one chase when he's in the Hellcat. It's really cool. I thought it was filmed well. And it does fit in with like that Taken kind of like theme of what Liam Neeson was going for. He does a good job on it. No, it's not his best film ever, but as a fan of him as an actor, I really was excited when I found out this got a 4K release. Now, this one does not have a reversible cover artwork, so it will have that green sticker on the front of it no matter what, but that's not a big deal for me because it's the disc and the content that I want to know about because that's what I'm watching. Thankfully, this has HDR10 on it. It looks really good in HDR10. It also has English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix. There was some really good LFE and bass in it. that there's a lot of shooting in this. And let me say, there's a lot of shooting in this film. So there is a lot of uses of that you'll hear, like an explosion, or you'll hear like the tires spinning out, and it does a good job with the audio mix on this. And the image on this does look very good. That had a very nice and healthy 71 megabits per second rough average bit rate. And it looked nice throughout it. There was a few dips throughout it, but nothing too heavy. Now, showing you what you get in this, it does come, like I said, with that on the front. It says Blacklight in English on the side. Talks about the film on the back, that it is a 2-disc set. Then when you get inside here, you do have your Blu-ray disc. This is Region B locked, but the 4K, thankfully, this one is 100% region free. You won't have any problems playing this 4K anywhere worldwide, though again, the Blu-ray is Region B locked. Now, the 4K is where it's at, though. The image on this blows away the Blu-ray. And the HDR10 on the 4K really helped out the image. It had some really cool highlights, especially at night when they're firing. And you see the explosions of the muzzle blasts in the dark. They looked really cool on this and did lend to why this looks so good. Now, this isn't Liam Neeson's best action film ever, but it is one that I enjoyed and was glad to add to my collection. I did not get to experience it in theaters. It was another one that came out during the time when a lot of the theaters were shut down or people weren't going, and it was one of those that I had wanted to see. Thankfully, I got to see it on 4K and it looked really good. I do recommend this release. It's not a highly recommended, but it is recommended. If you like to pick up Liam Neeson's action movies, this is one you're going to want to have in your collection, because hopefully in the future here, we get the rest of the Taken series all on 4K as well, and then those can all go together and have a Liam Neeson action collection, which I think would be really cool, because I really do like Liam Neeson in these action roles, and he fits really well into them. This is one you're going to want to have in your collection. Now, the link for this is another Amazon exclusive through that link I've posted in the description section below. It's the only way to buy it is through that link I've posted below. That's why I do all of this work for all of you in this video series. That way you don't have to take days upon days looking for all of these. I find all of those and post all of those direct links down there below. Next up is one I just want to mention here. Now, I previously did the review of 21 Bridges, and if you want to check out that, that's available right now here on this YouTube channel. I dived into this, gave all of my testing, told you the quality of this, and let you know how this one looks. This is another one of those hidden and unknown 4K Ultra HD releases that a lot of people did not know was ever released, but I loved it with Chadwick Boseman in it. He did a great job as the detective in this, but I had wanted to see more in this series because they had planned on doing more continuations in this series before he passed away. But this was a really good action detective movie that I really enjoyed, and this 4K release was one of those that was really cool. So make sure to check out that video after you get done watching this video. That'll give you an idea of if this is something you're going to want to get. Next up is Bridget Jones' Diary from 2001. Now, if you remember this film, it is a hilarious romantic comedy. My wife and I love this film. It's one of those that you watch over and over again. It's got Renee Zellweger in it, Hugh Grant, and Colin Firth in it. It's really funny and it's a really good film that's a great time. This is the only 4K Ultra HD release anywhere worldwide. It took me a long time to get a hold of this, but I got it in. Did all of my testing on it. It comes in this really cool limited edition steelbook. This is the only way to get it. There is no other version in a different case. There's no other version anywhere worldwide. This is a native 4K 2160p, and it does have Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it. Now, if you've seen this film on Blu-ray before, the Blu-ray was very, very soft. It had almost no film grain. It was a very dull looking image. The colors were very desaturated. That is all gone on this release. For this native 4K, the Dolby Vision and HDR10 looked great on this and really helped the film overall. Now, I will tell you though, there is some scenes in this that, just like on the Blu-ray and when it was released theatrically, they on purpose used certain camera lenses and filters to give it a romantic, hazy appearance in certain scenes. That is still retained on this 4K release. That's never going to go away, and it's not something wrong with this release. That is simply what was intentionally done with the cameras and lenses at the time to purvey this scene to us in a certain light, as kind of more a hazy, dreamlike, romantic scene. That's not something that's ever going to change on this release, and it's not something that's wrong with it. But the rest of it with that native 4K looks leaps and bounds better than every single Blu-ray release of this film ever before. And it really is a cool 4K Ultra HD release. But there is a caveat, and I'm going to make sure I touch on this. If you buy this before you watch my whole review of this, I'm sorry to say, but that's your fault because I share this information with all of you and you need to watch all of these to make sure you understand this. Don't cut through parts of this video and hear me say, oh, that sounds great, or it's a great release, and then miss the rest of it. There's a reason I share all this info. This does have burned in subtitles. That's the reason why I don't highly recommend this release. It's good, but you have to have a player that can move the subtitles off of the bottom of the screen to watch this without them being burned in. So I have a Panasonic UB820. I reference it all the time. It's one of the best 4K players money can buy. I always post those links for those players in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. So if you want to get one or you don't own one, that is the 4K player I recommend. Here's a prime reason why. On this 4K Ultra HD release, those subtitles are burned across the screen, which means you can't turn them off. You can try to. I did everything under the sun to turn them off. They don't. But what you can do with the Panasonic UB820 is you can go to subtitles and select the position. And it's numbers. As you press the numbers down, the subtitles scroll down the screen, down the screen, down the screen until they're below the screen. And then you don't see the subtitles at all. So you get to watch this with the beautiful Dolby Vision, the HDR10, just like it is meant to be watched without the burned in subtitles. The subtitles are below the screen, so you don't have any issues with them. But that's specific to the Panasonic UB820. There are some other players that do it, but not very many anymore. So if you have the option to get rid of those subtitles, then this is a recommended release. If you don't, the burned-in subtitles can be irritating because they're kind of right across the bottom part of the actual image and they're constantly there. And I don't like that personally. That's just something I don't like, especially for an English language release, which this does have English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and the audio mix sounded great. It's crisp, it's clear. You can hear all of the music. There's such a good soundtrack for this film that if you're a fan of like 2000 soundtracks, which they used to do such a great job in a lot of these romantic comedies, this one has one of those and it sounds great on this release. My wife was so excited when I got this one because the Blu-ray's always been poor, just so poor looking. They released it in this limited edition steelbook. We were disappointed with the burned in subtitles, but once I moved them off the screen, we were all good to go. Showing you what this looked like, obviously it has some cool artwork on here. This is glossy where it says Bridget Jones, Le Journal D, and then on the side here it says Bridget Jones again. Then on the back it talks about it. Obviously your 4K and your Blu-ray with a bunch of special features on them. Now, showing you what you get in this, you do get your Blu-ray disc here. Your actual steelbook has different artwork behind it as well, which is really cool. Another limited edition collectible steelbook that's really cool. Your 4K Ultra HD disc is 100% region free. Blu-ray is region B locked. But your 4K is where it's at and has everything you need on it. That Dolby Vision, HDR10, English audio. That's where it's all at, and I really did enjoy it. It definitely made Bridget Jones' Diary look the best I've ever seen it. Now, talking about the image a little more, there was some slight digital noise in it and a little bit of film grain clumping in it. Now, getting to the rough average bitrate on this, this did have a rough average bitrate of 56 megabits per second. It's decent. It's not amazing. It's not going to knock your socks off and blow you away, but it's a decent rough average bitrate. It didn't have any massive dips. The only things I noticed that I said through the image was some digital noise and some clumping of the film grain throughout it. Those softer scenes that are in it are intentional, and it's a good release. I just have a hard time saying that it's a highly recommended or recommended because of some of those issues like the burned-in subtitles. Those are things that if you don't have the option for it, I can't really say it's highly recommended because if you can't move those subtitles off, they are quite irritating. So it all depends on you. What do you have for a player? What do you have for options? If you have those options available, this is another really cool limited edition 4K Ultra HD release, and this is the only release of this film anywhere worldwide on 4K Ultra HD. Next up, we have the 2022 film, The Outfit. Now, for those of you that live in the UK that are watching this, maybe you already knew about this one, but most of the rest of the world did not know about this 4K release. This is one of those that I absolutely loved, this gangster, mobster, mystery thriller. This is one of those films that you literally have to watch twice. The dialogue in it, the acting is multi-layered where it's not super intense and it's not super fast-paced. It's more or less, it builds, and everything in it, the cinematography, the pace of it, showing what went into them sewing the suits, and then the story of how it all ties together. And I can't really give away too much of this film because I don't want to ruin it for your first time viewing. because it is really one of those films I don't even suggest you watch the trailer. Go into this blind. If you like a good mystery that's gangsters, mobsters, and has a really engaging actor in it that just really you can't take your eyes off of, man, this film does it. It is highly underrated. Not enough people have checked out this film. It takes place basically in one small building, basically one room location. The whole film basically takes place in it. Now there's different rooms connected to it, but it's all one set. And it's really well done and really cool how it's filmed. Now, this release is a native 4K 2160p, and it does have HDR10 on it. And for a big surprise, this has Dolby Atmos in English. And the Dolby Atmos on this is where it's at. Now, it does have an English DTS HD master audio mix as well, but the Dolby Atmos is where it's at for me. There is little things throughout this that you'll be surprised were used for that Dolby Atmos effect. Like there's things like where a car will pull up outside and you'll hear people walking kind of above the back side of the building and the crunching of the shoes. And you can hear that through the Dolby Atmos effect. There's things like when there's fire and you can hear the fire crackling up the wall and then going across the ceiling with the Dolby Atmos effect. There's little things that really surprised me that they used the Dolby Atmos to great effect in this. And overall, the Dolby Atmos moving things around the room, there's a lot of sequences that are just talking. And a character will be talking very calmly and quietly, and you'll hear like their voice inflections and tones. And then you'll hear somebody walking behind, and the clip-clopping of the shoes. And things are just, I mean, the pace of this, I don't know how to explain it to you. You gotta sit back, have something to drink, watch this film. It's got an absolutely great pace that I love that is missing from a lot of cinema pieces now. This is one of those modern films that I was blown away at how much I enjoyed this film. Now it does have language and violence in it, but neither one of those were too over the top or too violent. It was just really tastefully done. You fall in love with the characters in this and you're really engaged by the story and the mystery of this. Because let me tell you, the mystery, you sit there trying to figure out, okay, who's double crossing? Who's doing this? Who did that? How did that move? It's one of those that at the end you're like, man, I loved that film. Now showing you what you get in this set. It does come with a slipcover. On this slipcover, obviously it says the outfit. Everything's in English because this is an English release. This is the outfit on the side. It's obviously a universal licensed release. Talks about that it has the Dolby Atmos, which the Dolby Atmos is where it's at. It does have English subtitles as well on it, so if you need those, they're available. Showing you what you get inside this, you do get your discs on leaflets here. The Blu-ray disc is region B locked. 4K disc is 100% region free. That's where it's at anyways. I'm telling you that HDR10, there's numerous things with the color nuances of the suits and just even the room that they filmed in is set up so pretty. If you look at things that are so intricately detailed, there's some conversations with the main actor in this that he's sitting in this like leather, burgundy red leather seat. And on the 4K disc, you can see so much more detail and depth than what was present on the Blu-ray. And we got a Blu-ray in the US. In comparison, this 4K blows it away. You can see so much more intricate details with the lights to darks and the varying color shades of what's on that like basically deteriorating leather chair and the cracks in it. And it's just one of those that the 4K disc lended so nicely to the overall image and the experience of this. And the Dolby Atmos was such a nice little treat that lended to why this was one of those really awesome 4K Ultra HD releases. And I've got one more big surprise about this release. The rough average bitrate on this was an extremely high and extremely strong 76 megabits per second. It lended to why this looked so beautiful from beginning to end. No digital noise, no banding, no blocking, no issues whatsoever. The Dolby Atmos and the HDR10 just lended to what made this film such a well-crafted thriller that as a mystery, you don't want to miss out on. It is one that I've watched twice now because that's how much I enjoyed this after it arrived. It is one of those films you'll watch again and see all these little intricate things and look at the room when you're watching the film. Just look around. There are so many things in the room that they added that are just such cool little hidden touches and they look so good on this 4K release. This comes extremely highly recommended. This is a must-buy 4K you want to have in your collection. This is the only 4K Ultra HD release of this film, anywhere worldwide, and thankfully, it is a great one that you're going to want to have in your collection to check out and experience this film. But at the same time, I want to know what of these you're excited about. This series, the reason it's so much fun is to share all of these hidden or unknown releases. Make sure to start that conversation in the comment section below and let me know what of these in this video series you're thrilled to find out about, what of these you're going to be buying through those links I posted below. Make sure to start that conversation down there below and let me know what your thoughts are on a lot of these and how excited you are to find out about these, because I did all of my testing on all of these. Next up, we've got this mystery World War II, kind of like it's got some little bit of sci-fi elements in it, kind of mixed together in a mystery that's trying to be a true story. But it's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. And that's where I said the Hitler part of it, kind of loosely based on true story. Then it kind of goes into myths and legends. It's a very well done and entertaining film, but I will say there's a caveat with that. My wife and I watched it, and I enjoyed the film. She enjoyed the performances in it, so did I. Sam Elliott's great in it. Aidan Turner's great in it, as obviously the younger character of Sam Elliott back in World War II. It's got a lot of like really cool performances and things that it ties together. That is, until the end. And I don't know if it's just me and my wife, but the ending kind of just was a letdown to us. It gets to the end and you feel like you didn't really get an explanation of about maybe half the film. There's so many things that are left unanswered. Now, I understand the point of it is it says it's an American myth. So it's supposed to be mythological and not actually basically telling you everything. But in this one, I don't know. I enjoyed it so much and we were having such a fun time watching this film until the end. And then the end was a letdown that it's kind of one of those films that you got to experience it on your own and decide what your thoughts are on your own. I mean, don't take my opinion for saying it's not a great film. It's enjoyable. I really enjoyed it until the last few minutes. And then it was like, what? Like one of those films I sat there, I'm like, man, they really didn't answer that. And I don't want to give it all away if you haven't seen it yet, but all I will say is geez, man, could they show us in the box? And if you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but just show me the box. Stop teasing about it, but just show me the stinking box. Anyhow, but the film was entertaining except for that. And I'm not meaning to rant about it, but I just wanted to share my opinions about this. This is on 4K Ultra HD. This is the only release of it on 4K anywhere worldwide. This is the media book. I've reviewed dozens of media books over the years. If you haven't checked out the previous videos in this video series, I review media books, a lot of them. Now this 4K Ultra HD release on media book is from K-Play. Now I recently did All Quiet on the Western Front. They sent me that early for review. Actually, I got that in about 2 to 3 weeks before even the release date. And the studio reached out and sent that to me early for review. I always appreciate it when they send those things early for review. But if you haven't checked out that review, that's another media book release of an absolutely phenomenal reference quality 4K Ultra HD release. But that All Quiet on the Western Front, you'll want to check out that review after you get done watching this video. This is another media book. I've got lots of these now, and they look really cool on the bookcase because they're all the exact same size. K-Play releases them all exactly, and they look really nice all lined up on your bookcase. So if you do collect media books, this is another one to add to your collection that goes along with them. It does have this like J-card thing that goes over the top of it. Talks about the film on it here. It's really nice glossy media book. Talks about it all in English. Obviously, The Man Who Killed Bigfoot. On the back here, it's all in English as well. And then when you get inside here, you do get your Blu-ray disc. And then you obviously get your 4K disc back here. And then it's got basically production things in here, talking about the film, pictures from the film, things like that. Talking about your discs though, got some good news. Both your 4K Ultra HD and your Blu-ray discs in here are 100% region free. So the Blu-ray and the 4K, you can play no issues whatsoever. You can access all the special features and play them, no issues, because they're 100% region free. Now, the 4K is a native 4K 2160p, and it does have HDR10 on it, and it does look good. It's just, like I said, because of how it ended, it just kind of was one of those films that I can't really say I loved because I just honestly didn't love the film. I loved everything up to the end, but then the end kind of just soured it for me. And again, you'll want to check it out yourself, make your own opinion about that, but that's just my opinion about the film itself. It's still a cool 4K release. It's nice to have it in the collection. It's one of those really cool, like I said, shiny books. And again, I like having it to go along with a lot of those other Cape Light releases on 4K. And it does come with English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix, so you won't have any issues listening to the audio. There was no audio delays or lags, and there wasn't any digital noise or issues that I had through the playback. It's just like I said, I can't really recommend the film. The release I can though. This is the best way to experience this film. The only downside about this 4K release is there was some slight black crush that I experienced. And it's only in a few of the darker scenes that there was some black crush that wasn't as noticeably present on the Blu-ray, but you do notice it on the 4K a little more. That's about the only downside of the image that I could really point out about it. It just had a little bit of that black crush that I wish wasn't present on it. Otherwise, this release on 4K, it's a good release on 4K. I just can't really recommend the film itself because for me, it was just kind of one of those odd films. Now, because I know I always get a ton of questions asking this, all of those links for everything I covered are always in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. You don't have to go out there trying to find them all. I've done all that work and every direct link is linked down below. So any of these you want to buy, make sure to go down there to those links below. If you enjoy all the time, the hard work I put into testing every single one of these, just like in this video, it costs a ton of money for me to get all of these in, to test them and to try them out for all of you to determine if these are something you'll be able to buy or watch. Make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club or give a super thanks to the super thanks button down below. I can only continue to do this video series and continue to make videos just like this exclusive video through you, my viewers and subscribers' support. That's through that Collectors VIP Club or giving a super thanks down below. I'm not sponsored or paid to do these videos. I can only do this through all of your donations and support. So if you want me to continue creating these videos, just like this one, it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get all of these in, and I'm already working on number 4 in this video series. It's extremely expensive, especially when I find out a lot of these don't work that I share, or that aren't amazing releases. Make sure to join that Collectors VIP Club or give a super thanks tip through the super thanks button right below this video. Every single dollar that any of you give truly makes a difference in me being able to continue to create videos just like this. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Start the conversation in the comment section below. Let me know what of these you're gonna buy, what of these you're excited to find out about. Tell me what of these you're shocked to find out about that you're so excited that I had tested and reviewed in these videos. I love to hear how excited all of you are. It keeps me going and gets me excited to keep doing all of these videos for all of you. So make sure to share your excitement with me down in the comment section below. I always look forward to hearing from all of you. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day. I've got another one of these I'm already working on, and I've always got something new, exclusive, early, and exciting coming out very soon.